Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn along with Daryl Wayne. Join us at latenighthealth.com. Lots of great stuff happening over there. Our shows are there. There's articles, there's blogs, there's links to our Facebook and Twitter feeds. So be sure to visit us at latenighthealth.com, especially so you can see the beautiful face of not only Daryl Wayne, but David Foreman, who is our next guest. David Foreman is a retired pharmacist. He's known as the Herbal Pharmacist. He's a good friend of the show, and I'd like to say that he's a good friend of mine. David, welcome back to Late Night Health.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it, Mark. And Daryl, hi to you.
Greetings.
Thanks to both of you for having me back. And I definitely am a friend of the show, and I am a fan of the show. And I encourage people that may not be aware of it that they can always, even if you can't catch it when it's happening, you can always catch it off the internet, which is one of the things that I do. So I encourage people, pass it around.
Hey, thank you. We appreciate that a lot. We're going to talk about arthritis today. Specifically, I think rheumatoid arthritis. There are different kinds of arthritis. And we're going to talk about pain relief because arthritis is painful. The rheumatoid arthritis, at least, is painful. Will the remedies that we talk about now, will they work for other forms of arthritis, or are they specific for rheumatoid arthritis?
No, that's an interesting question, and the answer is none of these things are specific to rheumatoid arthritis. There are a little over 100 forms of arthritis out there, and in all honesty, Mark, the term arthritis is really kind of a generic term. It's the combination of two Latin words, one meaning joint and one meaning inflammation. So anytime in medicine when you hear your doctor say something-itis, like bronchitis, in this case arthritis, prostatitis, anything that says itis after it, itis means inflammation. In this case, arthro is where that comes from, which means joint. So rheumatoid is just one of many types of arthritis. Osteoarthritis is the most common, followed by gout. A lot of people aren't familiar with it.
I was just writing gout down to ask you about gout.
Yeah, gout and osteoarthritis are the two leading forms of arthritis, and they are very much different than each other, as well as rheumatoid. Rheumatoid is actually a form of joint inflammation that occurs because your immune system has some wires crossed, we'll say, and the body's literally attacking itself. And when it does, it attacks that healthy connective tissue that causes more inflammation. When you get inflammation in a joint, that's where the pain comes from. So pretty much all forms of arthritis, I'm unaware of any that don't have pain associated with them. Let's put it that way.
Right. I know that I remember an aunt had rheumatoid arthritis, and growing up, she was a beautiful woman. But the devastation from the rheumatoid arthritis gnarled her hands, made her back kind of fall over into itself.
Yeah.
I don't remember her legs because she was always cold in the last few years that she was alive, and she was always covered. My question is, and she was a fiercely independent woman, and this has got to be over 30 years ago. Has the treatment for an understanding of rheumatoid arthritis specifically changed in that time?
Yeah, it has. It's changed dramatically. It started to change when I owned my pharmacy years ago. I started my store in 1989, and there's been a dramatic shift in our knowledge of it. And normally I talk about the herbal, or the supplement or lifestyle stuff, but I can even say that modern medicine's come a long way with medical well, I hate to call them treatments because you have to keep taking this stuff, but
right.
But there are even some great advances that have transpired from when I was in pharmacy school to now. So your aunt would not have probably suffered with as much discomfort or the disfiguring that happens, like you were talking about. Their hands, the joints just become, disfigured, and
gnarly. They get gnarled.
It's this, and it's sad because not only is the condition painful, but then you've got this disfiguring that's going on with your body. It's like a 2-for-1 special on agony, I have to say.
There's an interesting article that discovered that fish get arthritis.
Yeah, this is kind of cool. I'm still weighing this one out, but yeah, there was a recent discovery that that fish had form like a form of arthritis, and I think that the reason this is probably the most interesting to modern medicine is there's no weight bearing going on in a fish. It's floating around the water, and so I think that's one of the big things. And then there was another discovery, Mark, that found that there's a certain bacteria that that seems to show up in people that don't have rheumatoid arthritis. And I think we've talked about probiotics, and I know you've had guests on talking about probiotics. Well, this is a type of bacteria that would be pro-health or probiotic as opposed to pathogenic or disease-causing. So yeah, there's a lot of neat things going on there. I think it just makes scientists, when they find out fish have it or this bacteria thing, it makes them go, all right, well, maybe there's more going on here than we thought. And it makes us dig deeper, which I think is a cool thing.
Absolutely. If somebody has arthritis, or at least the beginnings of rheumatoid arthritis, can they take that probiotic, to boost their immune system to fight the?
I believe there's a patent on the bacteria, and I believe they're trying to, if they haven't already, made a quote drug out of it. I did some brief digging around on that, and I still have not found the answer I'm looking for. So I can't give you the definitive answer on that. I would think, though, that based on what I read about the bacteria itself, is that it would at least go a good way. Is it the treatment for it? I'm not really sure, although I can tell you, Mark, that a lot of times when I approach people that have an autoimmune condition, which is what rheumatoid arthritis is, one of the areas I focus heavily on is their digestive tract and making sure that they take a super-duper powerful probiotic along with some other things that help the overall gut health. So I think it's a good idea, but is it the straw that broke the camel's back or cured arthritis? I don't necessarily believe that's so in this case.
During our first part of the show, we spoke with Julia Loggins, whose book is It Takes Guts to Be Healthy. And over the last few years, we've talked to a number of people, including yourself, that say that, all good health begins in the gut.
Yeah, the old saying, there used to be that phrase, is death begins in the colon. And I've always spun it around and say life begins there. Because if you're not digesting your food properly, and converting the nutrients in the food, and there's all these little ands, then you could have the best diet, you could take the best supplements, you could do all these other things right, but you're not going to get them into your bloodstream, and you're not going to detoxify your body. There's a double whammy going on there. You're not going to support your immune system. So, I believe that life begins there, and that's how we keep it healthy.
What about a colonic? Would that be something that you'd be in favor of yourself?
I honestly have never been a fan of those. I've only had them, in the back of my mind for people that were severely debilitated, and a lot of it had to do with their colon health. But generally, I do not recommend people get colonics. And I know there's people listening right now, they're probably like, wow, what an idiot, whatever. But I believe you really shouldn't disturb the gastrointestinal tract as radically as I feel that does, and that the same kind of results can be achieved in a more gentle, more natural way. We were not designed to have things shoved up our backside to make us well. We were
in talking to Julia just minutes ago, she was saying that it's actually just putting in water, which, gets rid of the bad stuff, leaving the good stuff, the good flora, for example.
I understand that concept, but there's other ways to get water into the bowel than going from the. And here's a great example of what I love to preach to people is that you have two health experts. Obviously, her area of expertise is even more so to gut health, and then mine's more general health. But it's always good for people to glean information from more than one expert when it comes to anything having to do with your body, and then formulate your own opinions. But for me to drive more water into the bowel, I do it from the inside out, not by going outside in, and that's what by inserting that into your rectum and gently adding water into the bowel. I get what she's saying, but I don't necessarily agree with the
premise. Sure.
Yeah, the technique, right?
So
exactly.
You drink more water.
Drink more water. Magnesium is one of the best minerals out there. If you take magnesium, it'll actually drive water into the digestive tract. That's why magnesium works so well as a laxative for people. Most people kind of dried out to begin with, so drinking more water. Actually, it's really interesting. One of my favorite supplements we actually have listed here is an old-time remedy for the people with joint health issues is aloe vera. Aloe vera is another one of those things that helps to really help hydrate, heal, and soothe the bowel. But I hope I don't offend you or your previous guest by having a differing opinion.
Everybody has. That's what we're here to do. We're here to share different thoughts and ideas. Let's talk about aloe vera and some of the other supplements. The biggest problem with arthritis is pain.
Right.
Getting rid of that pain. Being able to maybe move your hands again.
So I have 5 things listed here for you guys that all we'll say all 5 indirectly, when taken by mouth, have an effect on the pain because they support the body's ability to fight inflammation. So that's why you get pain in your joints, is that you've got inflammation. There's really no room for that swelling to go. So that swelling will push back down on the nerve endings that go through the joints, and that's where the pain comes from. So things like aloe vera I mentioned. Now, one of these suggestions actually works topically as well. You can buy it in a cream or a gel, and it's actually something we keep at the Foreman household. It's an ingredient called Celadrin. But the 5 I'll just rip them off quick, and if we have time...
Yeah, when we come back, we'll do some more.
Yeah,
we'll
so the 5, you want to take a break now, Mark?
No, we've got about a minute and a little over a minute.
All right, cool. So aloe vera is one. Another one comes from Indian medicine, Ayurveda, called Boswellia. I just mentioned Celadrin. That's the one I use orally and topically. Another one, this comes from the Incas, an herb called cat's claw, and ginger root. And we'll talk more about those, I know, when we come back. And
ginger root, of course, is an anti-inflammatory. What about vitamin D? We have to add that into the mix, too. Well, vitamin D is shown to be low in people with especially rheumatoid arthritis, so taking a vitamin D supplement can hopefully help in the prevention. Gotcha. All right, our guest is Dave Foreman, the Herbal Pharmacist, and we don't say it enough. He's not only a good friend of ours, he's a doctor himself. I mean, he's a naturopath. And he doesn't talk about that, but I'll brag about him. Dave Foreman, our guest. We're talking about dealing with arthritis pain without drugs. More information will be found at latenighthealth.com. latenighthealth.com. Daryl, Dave, and I will be back as Late Night Health continues.
Are you being audited, and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate a lower tax bill. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will fight for you using industry secrets that can stop any IRS actions, eliminate penalties and interest, and reduce your past tax bill so you pay the IRS less. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor now for a free IRS audit emergency review.
800-663-5107. 800-663-5107. 800-663-5107. That's 800-663-5107.
If you or someone you love suffers from drug addiction, now is the time to utilize your private health insurance PPO plan. If eligible, receive up to $30,000 or more in substance abuse benefits with low or no out-of-pocket cost. We are the National Treatment Network, the premier drug and alcohol treatment referral service operating 24/7. We help connect you with facilities nationwide that accepts PPO private health insurance for substance abuse. If you have PPO substance abuse coverage and you need immediate admittance to a medical detox or residential rehab treatment center, call us now. Call our live referral helpline today. The call is free. This program is not available to Medicare or Medicaid customers.
Call 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. That's 800-296-1252.